Hello YouTube, this is Fredworth, and today I will show you some more Star Citizen. And before we do any of that, I want to thank you so much. As you know, the last video that I made was my very first YouTube video, and it already got more than 750 views, and I got 6 subscribers already. And this is absolutely amazing. I never thought I would get that many views when I made this other video, so that really means a lot to me. Thank you for leaving your comments. You're putting me under pressure to make more videos now, of course, obviously. But okay, we will go along there together, right? So, what has happened last week since I uploaded the last video? CIG got a bit of flack regarding the constellations. It looks there was some miscommunication regarding cargo capacity. There was some miscommunication regarding the thrusters that you would get on the different models. And this hasn't been going down well with quite a lot of people. So Ben Lesnick, who's one of the CIG guys responsible for the contact to the community, he's been going around and talking to as many people as he could on the forums and on some live streams in order to let's say do damage control there and explain to the people what has happened and what the vision really is and what the status is and so on. I will put some links in the description of this video. I personally like the connies, and for me the idea of flying together in the same ship with some friends, fulfilling different roles in the ship, this is something that has appealed to me since very early days. I think one of the earliest games that I've ever played was some kind of bombing game where you would fly over Germany and drop some bombs, and I was always thinking, man, it would be nice to have a multiplayer version of that game. One guy flying the bomber, one guy shooting down enemy planes, one guy doing the actual bombing. And since then, I think since I was 12, it's more than 20 years now, I've been really looking forward to this. So I did the following. I melted most of my ships that I have. Basically what you're seeing in front of you right now is what I have left. It's the M50 and the Aurora LN. The Aurora LN I really shouldn't sell, because this is what is holding my alpha access right now, the pledge behind that. And with all that money that I got from melting my ships, I got myself the Connie Super Pack. So I have 4 constellations now. Last week we already saw the Aquila and the Phoenix, and today I want to show you the other 2 variants, which are the Andromeda, basically the base model, and the Taurus, which we can see over here, which is the even more base model freighter version. I would propose we start with the Andromeda. So, on the outside, it has a style which is pretty similar to what we've already seen on the Aquila, color-wise. Of course, you do have the rounded cockpit on the Aquila that you can see in the back here. On the Andromeda, you have the more typical, box-shaped, rectangular, edgy cockpit of the Constellation variants. And again, you have lots of missile hardpoints here in the middle of the screen. Maybe you can see it. You have 2 turrets actually here, and you have the P-52 fighter that we will see in a second when we get around here. Actually, I was misinformed regarding the Aquila. The Aquila can have this P-52 as an option, and probably also the P-72 as an option, depending on how much money you're willing to spend. But it will not come with one as a standard. But here, the Andromeda, this is really the ship to go for if you don't want to have the Phoenix interior, if you don't want to have the limited cargo capacity of the Phoenix, that you can use for space superiority. Because here you will have the most missiles, the most guns of any of the variants. And even the Phoenix will have a bit less missiles, but they will be larger size. And of course, the Phoenix, as we were told, will have the equipment that is on it already pretty much upgraded. So inside here, no big surprises. The chairs are still a bit fiddly to use. Can we get into the captain's chair? Where is the spot? Ah, there we go. At least it's turning around. Once it got turned around, you can sit in pretty easily. Okay. Yeah, and as I said before on the last video, here on these more rectangular cockpits, you really have an excellent view for your captain. You can look almost straight down at what is in front of your feet. So this is really excellent. On the last video, one of the guys mentioned, yeah, why would we still have glass windows in front? We have the head-up displays, so it will not really matter that much. We will have head-up displays and so on. Even today we have things like the Oculus Rift to look around. Yeah, that's true. But for me personally, I still think having a good visibility, having a glass front will be a nice thing, because if you're, let's say, flying through an asteroid field, or if you're trying to land on a planet or on a space station, there's nothing that can replace the excellent visibility. If you're going for, let's say, an Oculus Rift style or any 3D class style display, that would mean that the point of your vision is away from where your character is, where you are basically, and that would probably disorient much more than you would gain from being attached to a external camera system. So back to the topics on hand. Two turrets, as I said. I heard that they are thinking about actually following a proposal that was on the RSI forums for quite a long time, that if you use the lower turret, you will get turned around. So for you as a gunner in the lower turret, it would look like, or feel like at least, you were in the upper turret, which has a way better visibility, probably. Not extremely so, but still better visibility. So that would be interesting to see how they will really implement it. Right now, still, the turrets are unfortunately broken, so I'm not going to get in there. Back here, this is pretty much your standard Constellation loadout. We've seen it on the Aquila already. Pretty identical. You have the table, you have the funny, not very clean toilet. Over here you have a shower. You have the bunk beds, 4 pieces actually here. And in the back you have the pretty much standard cargo bay. And of course back here the engine room with the access hatch to the P-52. So from there I don't think there are any big surprises. It's really nice to see how this is actually looking so early in the game, in this early pre-alpha stage. I like the color schemes, I like the lighting on the ships, so this is really something I'm going to enjoy and that I'm looking forward to flying. So let's head over to the Taurus. The Taurus will be the freighter version. You can tell by this big blue stripe We've seen that on the Freelancer Max already, so probably everything related to hauling lots of cargo will have this blue stripe. I don't know whether this is supposed to give an indication to pirates which ships will hold the valuable cargo. But it's a nice difference, let's say, to the other models to see it like this. It's some variation, really. So the other thing about the Taurus is the cargo bay is a bit longer than on the other Constellation models. It will hold 1900 freight units. That has been confirmed by Ben Lesnick, as compared to the 1100 on the Aquila and the Andromeda, and the 550 of the Phoenix. Of course, the Phoenix has this reduced amount of cargo space because you're only able to use the lower half, the upper half being where your pool and your glass table and your minibar and everything is standing around. What you can see back here also is there's no P-52 option or no snub fighter option. This is just because there's no space, and this is something Ben Lesnick mentioned. You will basically be able to move all the parts around between the different ships. That means not the hull, so you cannot, at least not right now, use the let's say the rounded cockpit of the Aquila here on the Taurus. This will not be possible, and you will never be able to fit a hardpoint for your snub fighter back here on the Taurus. But you could take the engines out and move it to another constellation. You could move your weapons around. You can upgrade your weapons. So this will work as long as the ship where you want to put the new equipment to has hard points that support the size of equipment that you want to put in there. So, for example, talking about the Phoenix, it has been confirmed that the Phoenix will have the possibility to upgrade to thrusters one size larger than the other Constellation variants. So if you would have, let's say, a size 6 thrusters on that ship, you couldn't move it to a Taurus. So inside of the Taurus, pretty much standard, more or less identical to what we saw before. Over here we have a small difference. Below this upper turret, the Taurus only has the upper turret. We have this hatch, and probably this is where an additional hidden cargo space will go. So it will be quite interesting to see how this is going to work in the game. I think the Phoenix will also have this type of hidden cargo space for smuggling goods or for moving contraband, or if you have something especially valuable that you don't want any pirates to find. And speaking of which, I would assume that these boxes here that you have on the Aquila and on the Andromeda as well, that these would contain the personal belongings of your people that are flying on the ship. Back here, we can already see a small difference to what we had in the other variants. The Taurus only has 2 beds, only 2 escape pods. And instead here on the left-hand side, just behind the table, we have a small compartment that contains a real shower and a real toilet, and even a roll of toilet paper, which is a new one for RSI. I don't think any other ship has toilet paper. It still doesn't look too clean. The mirror is broken and so on. I would love to see an option to clean this, actually. Maybe I'm a bit of a freak there, but my personal feeling is if I have a new ship, then I want to take care of it, and don't want to be forced to sit in something like this, but okay. Maybe if you're a space pirate or a space trucker or whatever, then that would be alright. Still better having this than having nothing. Okay, this is really the key point to the Taurus. This is way longer than what we have on the Andromeda. This is way longer than what we have on the Aquila. So you can really see that there's going to be way more cargo space than on the other models. The drawback, of course, being that the space back here, where typically the engine room would be, this has been compressed. We don't have a bulkhead in front of the engine room. So if you have a decompression because you've got hit by a missile, for example, and you want to repair your engines, you better put on your spacesuit. In the other variants, you would probably be able to close the bulkhead and do your repair works without having to put on your spacesuit. At least as long as you can get there. I've been talking a bit about the fact that we only have 2 beds, 2 escape pods here on this Taurus variant. And actually that got me a bit into thinking, and this is completely theory crafting now. What will be the play style that we will have on these ships? My personal impression is, and this is also what I understand from Ben Lesnick and the other people commenting on the Taurus especially, this will really be one of your entry points into multi-crew ships. So probably you're, let's say, 1 or 2 people that put your money together to get this size of ship, to have this large cargo capacity, to do some nice freight runs. So what you would probably have is a guy piloting the ship from the middle seat in the front, and 1 guy supporting him. Means maybe doing some navigation or whatever, and in case of an attack, run to the turret and defend the ship. That makes 2 people, basically, that you would need to run the ship, and that is matching with what you have over here in a number of beds, basically. On the other 2 stations that you have in the front, I would assume that you will have 1 guy who will support your captain by taking care of energy distribution, shield distribution, and so on. So that would probably be a 3rd person on board, who is not actively taking part in the fight in the sense of shooting at anyone, but who's really a support role for whoever is taking care of your flying. And maybe the 4th person would be someone taking care of communication, so coordinating with other ships, maybe charting your route, doing your navigation. This would be really interesting. But I would assume that you can fly the Taurus pretty easily with 2 people. Theory crafting, as I said before. Yeah. Here on the Andromeda, of course, you would have at least 1 person more, because you want to man the 2nd turret, and probably the 4th person then will take care of flying the snub fighter to give you some cover in the back, or to chase down some stray fighters that got away from your ship. And probably you would have these other 2 roles in addition as well. So I could see the Andromeda being flown by, let's say, 6 people. I think, correct me if I'm wrong there, that it says on the stats page it should be 5 people, but my assumption would be more likely it's going to be up to 6, let's say. And then, of course, that brings up the question how you would provide escape pods for these people. On the Aquila, situation from my perspective is pretty identical, except for the fact that you don't have the snub fighter as standard. It will come only as an option, but I would assume most people will get a snub fighter as soon as it is for sale. And one of the turret gunners would be replaced by a guy taking care of all the additional sensor systems that you have on this ship. So probably it's also going to be more likely 6 people to man all stations instead of, let's say, the 4 people for which the Aquila is providing bedrooms and space. And here on the Phoenix, of course, my impression is that you will have the same number of people on board as on the Andromeda, 1 guy flying, 1 taking care of energy distribution, 2 for the turrets, 1 for the snub fighter. And then what I would really love to see, and this is I think where the Phoenix will really shine, having a couple of guys here in the back, in this nice, beautiful meeting room area, who will do more of a fleet coordination role than flying by themselves. Sitting here, having an overview of your battlefield on screen, and coordinating the different tasks that you have in a fight. My reasoning behind this is I've seen quite a lot of videos from the Arma 3 community, and if you're going away from let's say, shooter-oriented guys who just go around, shoot people, and are done with it, and look more into the simulation-oriented people, what you typically have there is 1 guy coordinating their complete ground forces in that case, 1 guy supporting him, taking care of reconnaissance, 1 guy supporting him, taking care of, let's say, the rear guard, 1 guy taking care of logistics and so on. So I could really see that these people would be sitting here. Obviously, they're too busy to really be flying their own ships. That would not be effective, probably. So they would sit here on these tables, at least that is what I would love to see, and coordinate your attack or your defense of your system. And of course, for that, what would really be excellent to have is a communication system similar to what is already implemented through some mods in the Arma series that basically provide you with a plug into your TeamSpeak or Ventrilo or whatever voice over IP system that you have, and then you can talk locally, so the people sitting next to you would hear it, or you can use one of your radios to call different groups, to call different ships here in Star Citizen. That would be really cool to have, and I'm really looking forward to that kind of play style. We will see how it will turn out. Okay guys, thank you for watching. Please leave a comment what you would like to see in the next video. I have some ideas, but of course if you have any special requests I will try to see whether I can make it happen. Thank you for watching. Like my video if you liked what you saw. As I said, there are a number of links that I will put in the description of this video. Check those out. They are quite long videos, but from my perspective they are worth watching. So, thank you for your time, fly safe, goodbye.